Question number 2, James Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister and reads, will he stand down the Honourable Murray McCully as Minister of Foreign Affairs while the Auditor-General investigates the Saudi Arabia Food Security Partnership? If not, why not?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, no, because I do not believe it would be appropriate to do so in the circumstances.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, James Shaw.
Given that the Auditor-General had, quote, insufficient information about the legality, end quote, of the Saudi deal, how can the Prime Minister continue to have confidence in a minister that pushed the deal through anyway?
Speaker,
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
I'm not going to go through all the merits of it because it's now before the Auditor-General, but I think the member's actually referring to a statement made quite early on in the piece. There was a lot that happened after that. But I'm advised that the officials confirmed that the transaction was lawful and within the scope of the Ministry's appropriation.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, James Shaw.
To the Prime Minister, does he have concerns about Murray McCully's involvement in the Saudi sheep deal, given that Murray McCully has previously been caught making, quote, unlawful payments, end quote, to members of the Tourism Board?
Are they right Honourable Prime Minister?
Mr. Speaker, no.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, James Shaw.
To the Prime Minister, given that Judith Collins resigned prior to an inquiry being launched on the basis of one email, why has the Prime Minister not called for Murray McCully's resignation, given that there is now an investigation into his actions?
The right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, well, I'd note that Ms Collins resigned, but I'm also advised that the officials confirmed that the transaction was lawful within the scope of the Ministry's appropriation in the purview of Cabinet, and I'm quite happy with the transaction.
Supplementary.
Order. Supplementary question, James Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Given that Phil Heatley resigned over a $70 expense claim, why has the Prime Minister not asked Murray McCully to resign for making a $4 million payment of questionable legality?
The right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm pretty sure what the Auditor-General will find is it's not of questionable legality, it's lawful.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, James Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Prime Minister. Given that ministers have gone down over emails and $70 expense claims, does his propping up of Murray McCully show that his own standards are slipping?
The right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, no. And Mr. Speaker, I'm quite comfortable actually that the transaction will bear the scrutiny of the Auditor-General. It was done within the purview of officials. It was done lawfully within the authority that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and others had. It was signed off by Cabinet. And Mr. Speaker, I'm very comfortable with the process.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, James Shaw.
Why should Kiwis be represented on the world stage by a minister who is under investigation for yet another possibly unlawful payment?
Mr. Speaker,
the right Honourable Prime Minister.
the Minister's not under investigation. No, he's not. The Minister is not under investigation. He has my 100% confidence.
Question number 3, Andrew Little.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Andrew Little.
Mr. Speaker, this question was originally set down for the Prime Minister, and I therefore seek leave of the House to have the question transferred back to the Prime Minister.